Everybody, welcome to the first episode of The Story Edge. In these podcasts, we talk about things that will inspire busy business leaders to really think about their content and their content creation in a whole different way. It's really about telling those stories that connect you to your customers, that connect you to the people that care about your products and services, and by you actually showing that you care. And I think stories that really help in that is one of Cobus Visser. We've known each other for a number of years, and he's a real awesome guy. 5 years, and a real awesome gentleman, man that really has a massive heart. Welcome, Cobus. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Marlon, and thank you for making time for me. It's been a crazy and amazing few months.
Yeah, it has. I mean, Cobus, talking about stories, could you just share a little bit about your story? I mean, Cobus works, he works in the world of mindset and shifting people, but you've also now pivoted in recent years, helping people with actually uplifting their brands. You've actually in my model of the world, you've adapted everything that you've learned in the world of mindset and started to shift it towards business and helping people in that to perform well and in their personal lives and in their business. Is that correct?
In a sense, yeah, that is correct. This past few years, I had to adapt my business a lot. This is not the first time I had to adapt it. When you start a business idea and you have this great, amazing idea, and you think people are going to come and flock for it because you have something unique. Mm-hmm. And people need it, and they must have it because of what impact it had in your life. And then you bring it to market, and then you realize people don't want it, or they think they don't want it. So they don't just flock to you. So you have to suddenly, okay, how can I pivot this so that I still do what I love, but just in a different way?
Yeah,
and that's what I have to learn. So I don't know where you want me to start with my story.
Oh, geez, okay, so let's start with the fact that you deal with haemophilia every single day, right? That's condition.
Yeah, that's condition. Haemophilia is a blood disease where my blood doesn't clot, so my body doesn't produce factor 8, the clotting factor. And so over the years, my joints has been disintegrated. I actually was recently in Hartenbos, and I did something crazy, and my elbow and my other elbow, and so basically for 2 weeks I struggled. I couldn't even brush my teeth. I couldn't get dressed. Can you believe it? That the elbow can be used for so many things. So it was quite again a challenge for me. And every day basically facing pain and constantly have to look at where can I advance my health a little bit better. Like last night I was so in pain I couldn't sleep. And it's constantly that challenge. And this is probably because I ate something yesterday that had an extra impact on my joints as well, and being busy. So there's a lot of challenges health-wise that I face. And, in 2014, I faced my first challenge of not being able to walk, and I struggled to walk. And after that, constant struggle to be on my feet. And most of the times I had to use my crutches, or I couldn't walk for long distances. So that was a big challenge in my life. Part of that has helped me to get through all of these challenges and mindset-wise is when I discovered walking on fire. Fire is amazing metaphor. You walk on 500 to 600 degrees Celsius. And so if you can do that, you can do anything. Just to give you an example, aluminium melts at 250. Your flesh, you get 30 degree burns at 115, yet you walk over 500 to 600. So in a sense, that is one metaphor that has helped me in life. And that's what I talked about in the beginning. When I discovered firewalking, I went to learn it. It took me 2 years to save the money. I went to the USA. I went to study it, came back, and I'm like, people need firewalking. They want firewalking. I must bring this. I'm just going to focus on firewalking. And that's, I think, where the branding and stuff comes in as well, in a sense, because nobody knew about me, first and foremost. So why would they want to come listen to me? Secondly, is it's so a new thing, firewalking in South Africa. Yet there was one or two guys that used to do firewalking a little bit in South Africa, but I wanted to take it to the masses, and people were not like, why should we walk on fire? You know, I don't want to. And they couldn't understand, and I couldn't get my right message across for them to come and walk on fire. And really, so I had that challenge. And so I started this business and it just didn't work, you know, and I had to adapt to it. So that's the first time I had to adapt my business model to say, okay, just to get people to firewalk and to speak in front of them is not going to support me and my family. So yes, you wanted to ask something.
I think that's exactly it. I mean, how you reminded me of a audio I heard of Simon Sinek talking about after, you know, as the pandemic was in, and I think we in South Africa were sitting in deep lockdown, and he said, like, you know, these exact words are escaping me, but something around the thing of, you know, there is no unprecedented when it comes to business, right? It's nothing unprecedented, because every business owner knows that they constantly have to be pivoting. They constantly have to shift according to what's happening in their environment. So it's not unprecedented, really. It's just about thinking, being flexible enough to see this is not working, and I got to just try something else. And obviously, like, right from the beginning, you've had that. So and I guess I want to just lead into, like, how was it? I mean, like, this is how long ago? Said 2014, right?
Yeah, 2014. Yeah.
So I mean, that's already like 6 years of having to do this little jig all the way through, and still having to work with the health, the health part of it. Now, I mean, many people wake up in the morning and just don't feel like it. You know, they don't have any condition. There's nothing really going wrong. Nobody's probably 100% healthy, that they feel 100% all the time. But I mean, no real serious conditions that they have to manage. And so I mean, having to deal with that, and I'm sure, like, with people, when you wake up in a bad mood, it's tough to get your day going. With you, how was it, like, having to manage these things and wake up with pain, and probably excruciating pain, and then still have to go out and trudge and dig like everybody else?
Yeah, you know, it's about creating new habits, you know, and I realized it again during now COVID. You know, one loses, and that's the only thing that got me through it and kept me going. You know, and like you say, one needs to be flexible. I think that is the first thing that we all need to learn. You know, one activity that I do is walking on broken glass, and that is an activity that teaches you have to be flexible. Flexibility controls the situation, and you don't have to go through the situations alone. But you also need to follow the right process to be able to do it safely and to get to the other side. And so during this process, one thing that has gotten me going is meditation in the morning. So I wake up at around 4:30. It takes me half an hour on the summer to get out of bed. 5 o'clock, I would go down, get myself a cup of coffee, and I will meditate for about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. And then I will go for a walk. And the meditation helps just to start the day afresh, you know, because you're still in that waking state. And so, you know, not being on social media and all of those platforms, because you program your brain is so receptive in the early morning, because you just woke up. And so it's like a sponge. And so one needs to be careful what you feed that sponge. So the meditation, and then I go walk, you know, even though I don't feel like it, or if I'm in pain. And the reason for that is I can't do other exercises. So I can't go to the gym and run on a treadmill or stuff like that. So one thing that I've learned is that you need to do physical activity. You know, some would go to the gym, some would go run, but there's just something about being out in the air. I call it fresh air, but you know, that breeze in your face and just clearing your mind again to be ready for the day. And then I come back in the day, and then you know, I have a process. Yes, you probably can't see it, but anyway, there's a journal. So I would journal then, put my thoughts down. You know, what is some of the stresses and what is, if there is any, write it down so that it can flow out. and then also write what I'm grateful for. You know, I've realized that's one thing that got me through this, Marlon, for the last few months, is gratitude, because it's, you know, especially my main business for a long time was events and training and team building, and you know, and a little bit of coaching as well. And I had to tap, because suddenly that wasn't coming in, and I tried a lot of things. I'm still new at, let's say, webinars and Zoominars. I started doing that, and you know, we were on one of them together. I learned a lot through that. You know, uh, I learned that I'm not good enough yet for that, so I had to up my skill in that department. So I'm working on it. So I'm basically now giving every 2 weeks a webinar, just to keep in that habit, just to always challenge myself to grow and to become better, because I need to acquire that skill. And you know, and finding new ways of how to change my business and my business model. And I think that is the constant thing that we have to go through, because business is not going to be the same. Certain business areas are going to be the same and are growing, but in the industry that me and you come from, is we need to approach it differently. And for me, the challenge is also is to have a purpose and a why. You know, just to I have my two little boys. Their pictures are up here in front of me, so that I look up to every day, because I want to move to Cape, or Eastern Cape, Western Cape side, in the next year, because then I'm closer to them, so that I can at least see them every second weekend, or when they do sports, to be close. So that is my aim at the moment. So that is why I got energized again, and I pushed myself. I started an online academy, just to give you an example. Didn't know the skills I had to learn, and I'm still learning. But I'm just like, man, I'm throwing it all out there. And through that, I attracted people. And, you know, I saw this, and this is where I got the idea. You know, I spoke to one of my clients, and that is now more than a client. At the end of the day, we became good friends. And when she started her business, it was all focused on making products to go sell at markets and to sell online. And she never started doing that. Business totally went to giving workshops, to training other people, and having an online store and an online course. And so I realized that, you know, I wanted to be in firewalking and coaching and so forth. But to get there, I need to change the way I get to that point at the end of the day, so that I can enjoy what I love. And I think this is a journey that we all have to. And one thing that has allowed me to help me is I recently, you know, for a while, and I think that is the challenge sometimes. We get to a point where, not all of us, but most of us, that we don't need someone. We don't need a coach. We don't need anyone. I was there. I was like, no, man, I can do this. I'm not going to fork out money to pay a coach to assist me, to help me, because, you know, I can pay myself because I am a coach. And I think, so, you know, you being going to Olympics and stuff, you know, imagine you did that by yourself. I think it's a bigger challenge. And yeah, so I just got money, and I said, you know, this is the last money I have. I'm going to put it on a coach. And suddenly my life transformed.
Amazing.
Bounce ideas off. It was someone that keeps me accountable and challenges me in my thought process.
No, 100%. I mean, these are one of the things. I mean, you're talking about, there's so much in that, in terms of one having to pivot and test a number of things, because, and then not only learn, test, and then still adapt through that process, because there's so much there's so much sort of input that has to go into an online course, marketing that course, delivering that course. There's and then the technical background of that as well. Just getting it up there is also another thing. And just having to continue to, like, still see how can I still do that thing that I want to do, but within the confinement of what I have right now, and then push myself through. And you're so right about the level of accountability, because we're very poor keepers of accountability for ourselves. You know, having others to do it, somebody else that has an invested interest in our success, but knows we're not willing to put up with our excuses that we may easily give ourselves. It's really awesome. So I just want to roll back a little bit, because you spoke a little bit about your routine in terms of just shifting your mind from the pain in the body and the maybe the just not feeling so good today to into that level of gratitude and moving into the why and moving into a bigger purpose, and thinking, and in a way in my brain that's like thinking bigger, right? Just going way beyond what your current environment is telling you, and going into a space where it's like, everything is possible, and then executing. So what is, let's talk a little bit about that follow through between that space of you now going to go and do that walk, feeling a little bit better, and then going into the next steps that you need to do. I mean, how do you sort of, how do you make that switch? Because it's one thing, because many people know how to, I know what to do. I know I have to go and do this. Maybe I'll even do a meditation, and then I slip straight after my meditation into complete anger and frustration, and I don't actually execute the things. I just actually go back to being the person who I was just a minute ago without noticing. It's all unconscious, of course. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, how do you sustain it is I guess the question. How do you sustain that? Because obviously you go through the rest of your day, you start, and then bam, there comes frustration number one. Oh, I need to learn this. Oh, this another thing needs to happen. Oh my goodness, family stuff is going on. All of that stuff, when it starts hitting you, how do you start like just moving through? How do you stay in gratitude with all of that happening?
Yeah, it comes down first and foremost, we need to create a discipline. Someone challenged me recently and said, just start small. Just start, when you wake up and start drinking. The first thing you do is drink a glass of water, and see how long you can do that. And suddenly, before you know, you stop doing it, and because other things get important. So creating a habit, that's the first and foremost that is important. So in the beginning, it takes effort. It's so easy to be negative. It's so easy to focus on or on the bad stuff, but doing the positive and creating the new habits is hard work. And it comes down again, how badly do you want to move forward and to get to your goals? And, using reminders, my alarm goes off. That's why you saw I was like 1 minute before 9, I was ready to be on because my alarm went off and I can't miss this. And creating alarms, getting things to remind you to do it, because otherwise we're not going to forget. And then challenges happen. Now, the only way we can get through this challenge is we have to go through those motions. So when something like that happens, I usually go sit and sulk for those few moments and rethink and think about it. And then I will draw the line. I've started creating that strategy for me. Okay, draw the line. What can I learn out of this? I can't change it. And if I can change it, what is the process that I'm going to follow to influence it? But it's like fear. The only way to conquer fear is to move through fear. The only way to conquer disappointment is to move through that disappointment. We need to feel it. We need to experience it. If you're going to put it in the box somewhere, you're going to go for it, and you're going to have to process it anyway. So rather go for it. There's a few times that I would probably feel a little bit depressed because I would compare myself to others, and I think I'm not there where they are. And then I would give myself the afternoon off, and I will go lie in bed and sleep it off and say, okay, now I give myself permission to feel depressed. Just to give you an example, so that I get it out of my system. But here's the trick: is you need to give yourself a time limit and say, for the next 4 hours, I'm going to feel that. Right. That's good, so that I can notice the emotions, so that when it comes again, so that I can go through it much quicker in the end of the day. And so that's been what's working for me. And I don't say it has to work for everyone, because not everyone, I'm an emotional person. I'm a love and connection. And so for others, it might be much quicker. They can think about it, they deal with it, and they go on, because they're not an emotional person. But for those who are more like me, that are emotional, well, go through those emotions. Otherwise, you're just going to bury it, and tomorrow you're going to face it again, and then it builds and builds and builds until a point where you don't want to face it anymore. And I think that is the one thing that has helped me, is I had to realize I had to face it. Because example, May, was just the end of the main lockdown, and I had to take my kids back. They were with me for 40 days, and I had to take them back. And
Mm.
so giving them goodbye, that was like, that was sore, so that took me a week. I gave myself a week to just do nothing and just sulk and feel it and go through that motions of not having them close by me. And then I said, okay, it's done. I felt it. I've gone through it. Now draw the line. Okay, what is the next thing that I need to focus on? And for me is what is it we want to achieve in life? I started to have to reset my goals, because the goals I had for this year, it cannot be achieved this year because of lockdown. I can't now suddenly go and travel and do events around the world, because that was my target. I need to now reassess and say, okay, I can do it next year. So what do I need to do now to line myself up to do those events? Because I believe what I have to offer is going to be in demand in the next year or 2 years, because people are going to have fear, they're going to have anxiety, they struggle already at work during surveys that I saw about people that are scared, that don't want to go to work, that are fearful, that are anxious. So they're going to need some motivation. They're going to need some firewalking, if I have to say it that way.
Mm.
So my mind is already, okay, where do I want now to be in 12 months? Redoing my goals. Actually have my PowerPoint with me, doing my vision board, and just making sure that I have something to focus on. If you go down to Cape Town, you have an end destination that you keep your focus on. Yes, you might take different routes to get down there, but you have to have that focus. And I think that is the one thing, is most people that I've talked to lately, they don't have a dream or a focus. There's a young guy that I've just helped. He ended up being in street. So his only focus now is just to survive. And then I say to him, he's nice and young. Why don't you set yourself a goal and go to America and go work on the farms there and just generate something and get out and see the world. But in his mind, it's not a reality. It's not possible because of where he comes from. So his only focus is he can't get that, but he just needs to survive today and tomorrow. And that's the thing. I think most of us are there. So we forget to live towards that dream and goal that we want to achieve. But to get there, we need to apply the right actions and mindset and tools today. And I think that is, and Marlon, and you can talk on this the same, with you going to the Olympics. When we met, you had that goal, you needed to qualify, and you got this close to qualifying, and you qualified. I remember you were hurt, you were sore. I remember you were like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And then you got qualified because you had that focus and goal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. You're speaking such truths, because, and I just had to sort of just sit in it, because there's many people that it's very easy to get stuck in the things that you don't have, or the things that you don't want. And because it's like, it's right here, I can see it, I don't have the money, I don't have the business or the car, or whatever it is that you're looking for, or that you see other people have. And I mean, like one myth, I'm going to call it a myth, that for me was dispelled during lockdown, sort of during this COVID pandemic time, for me, was that people don't have money. Now, this is a tricky space, because the pandemic itself has impacted commerce in a different way, but there is more money in the market than ever before. There's more money circulating, right? So while certain things were stopped, there's a lot of other places that started, and there was this mindset, and I was definitely one of those people that was sitting with that mindset that people don't have the money to spend. They're losing their jobs. And while all of that is true, it's not actually also true. The opposite is also true. People are spending more now than ever. I'm like, not ever, but I don't have the stats either. But what I'm looking at and what I'm realizing is that people are still spending. They still have to spend. And now it's just about, where am I going to be the person that's going to help them get what they want so that they can spend their money with me? Or am I going to be the one that's just going to sit there and say, oh, people don't have money, I shouldn't, I have to just completely either reduce my prices or not. So it was funny, during lockdown, my prices started going up. like over the course of lockdown, because first I had this perception, and then because obviously the more of the attention was going towards digital and towards digital services, slowly started increasing my pricing during that time. Um, and I started noticing, wait, hold on, people are willing to pay for these things, whether they pay these things, whether they're using their last bit of money or whatever, but they're willing to pay for it, and that, so it's really, so what I'm saying is what you're talking about is so true, and really it's about how we think about things, how we sort of frame our mindsets around these things, and what are we focused on at the end of the day? What do we want? Because for many of us, it's not very, very clear.
Yeah, the other thing that I also want to mention is you need to be willing to take the risk. Yeah, you might say that yeah, I would rather have people pay me more because then it's a quality client that you get in the end of the day, someone that's willing to do the steps.
Yeah.
But also, as an entrepreneur, as a business, we need to take risks. I had to take risks on hiring someone again. Because I told myself I have 30 days to pay her. So it put some fire underneath my ass
Sure.
to get up
Sure.
and going. I started doing marketing again online. I just closed my eyes and I put money on it and say, okay, now it needs to work. I need to make it work. So taking that risk, because I spoke to someone else the other day, I have all of these excuses of not having money to spend on marketing and get themselves out there, and they think people is going to come to them. But at the end of the day, you have to take action. If you can't spend money, but you have this phone, in the end of the day, you can phone people. If that takes what it takes for you to get business, then you phone people. But
Yeah.
you need to be willing to do whatever it takes. And most guys are not willing to do it because they have an excuse. Then I say, then you don't want it. I am not a phone person. And so I had to learn to do it. At one point I started saying yes for everything. Like now, when we finish after this, I have another Zoom and another Zoom until about 5 o'clock this afternoon, and then a break, and then at 7 o'clock again. So I've been packing my stuff, and it's like 30 to 40 minutes session with people that are interested. And why I keep still doing it, because I'm looking for the diamonds in the rough. I don't say yes now for everyone, because I did say a month, 2 months ago, I said yes to everyone, and I was backing myself and helping everyone. And then I realized I'm just helping a bottomless pit
Yeah.
where people they want the help, but they also don't want the help. They just want a place to. And then I realized, no, rather let me see all of these people, talk to them, and give them an option, and then decide if they are, because in a talk like this, you quickly can notice by asking the right questions, is this going to be the ideal client, especially that are in the servicing industry. That I want to deal with,
Yeah.
because I'm looking for those diamonds that are going to put in the effort, that it's going to challenge me, but I'm going to challenge them, and we're going to go above. And that also brings fire underneath my ass, and the burning desire from, man, I need to perform. And that's what I love. But for those who have to lick, come on, why aren't you doing this? And I can't do that anymore. And I did it for 2 months now.
Like so you're in the service business, and with those clients out there that expect you to do let's put quote unquote everything. Okay, so how do you sort of deal with that, in terms of when you're looking at your clientele, who to choose, who not to choose? I mean, you mentioned some things. You said, like, is this the right person? But what is the right person for you? For people, especially that, let's just say, my business is not doing so well. I need the clients. How would you suggest someone actually goes through that? I mean,
Yeah,
I don't have time to be picky. How am I going to do this?
yeah, well, you're going to learn your lessons. I had to let go, even though it was hard for me and I need the cash flow. But there's 2 clients I had to let go now, and said I'm not going to go on. And the reason for that, it was just draining my energy. And I just, yeah, getting it wasn't fun. One needs to weigh up, is it worth the money? Are you doing it for money, or are you doing it for the passion? And I had to realize, I can't just do it for the money. I'm not a money person. I know the money turns the world around, but I have a faith in my maker, and I believe he will send me the right people. And so through the few wrong frogs that you kiss, you find your princes and princesses that becomes your top clients, that becomes your raving fans. Because through them now, the one client introduced me to two other people that became clients because of his introduction, and because he's the kind of person that just also surrounds him with good people. So suddenly they were also great clients. And I think that is the one thing, is give an immaculable service, or that is the that is the word, but
Impeccable.
amazing, yeah, to that one person, because they tell you to other people, you say you need to get Cobus. He is the best, and he's not cheap. He's gonna cost much, but it's worth every penny. Then you also can get in charge for what you want, because you know by upping your price, you sort of cut also out a lot of the market that is gonna have that excuse not paying. But if they
Yeah.
are not willing to get the money to pay and have that excuses, where else in their life are they gonna have the excuses and to do the same when you challenge them? And then through that, the process comes. Then I don't mind that client phoning me every day for advice, because I know they're paying for my service, you
Yeah.
know, and then I love what I do because they want to grow. They challenge me, Cobus, I don't know what to do. Please do this, help me with it. And so, yeah, that becomes a two-way street. It actually fires me up. So I think it comes down to the question is, the moment you realize your clients drain your energy, and then you need to weigh up, is it worth the money? Am I selling my soul out for the money just to be happy in that way? And then you don't become happy. And so, and I think that is the one thing that I want to say is, it becomes a learning process, because once you get those wrong clients, you're going to notice in the future, this is what I have to look out for to be able to decide it. Because the one thing that I do that most people don't probably do, or, you know, in the online industry, they do it, I give a money back guarantee. You know, after 3 months, 4 months, we sit down and look at the targets we set and what you had to achieve. And I'll give you money back if you didn't achieve your targets. But with the T's and C's are, the whole process, you had to apply everything. So if I
Yeah.
say you need to cold call 10 people a day and you didn't do it, then it's not my fault. Then you
Yeah.
didn't apply what we set out to apply, because I know, and like, you know, these strategies do work
Yeah.
if you put action to it.
Yeah, yeah. There was an element in there that I'm not sure it really came through, and you mentioned it like sort of as you started it, and it was around sort of first trying and trying and trying. So you first you said yes to everything, right? So you said yes, 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 yes. I'm taking it on, and then there's a distinction that started to be made because you were very clear on who you are. And when you started to say, okay, wait, this is not me, this doesn't really work, you started moving things off your plate, saying, this is actually where I'm going to focus, this is where I'm going to put all my energy. Because we also only have a limited amount of time in the day, we have a limited amount of energy to give for that time, right? So, because there's got to be time that's, I mean, it's interesting. During lockdown, I met a lot of different people, doctors. I spoke to a lot of doctors. Doctors industry was really, really hard hit as well by the lockdown and by the pandemic as such. And many doctors were losing their practices. And some of them I was speaking to, they were specifically telling me about the impact of stress, right? And stress just around with the way we live today is crazy. So what's happening is that people are so stressed out that they're working like almost 24/7 and constantly on this cortisol high, I'm going to call it, and burnout, that they end up like they burn out very fast. And this thing of having to overwork doesn't work. And it seems like that's something that you started to notice, because you were draining energy. Maybe I'm not even sure how your work hours were with what you were doing, but what it was seeming to me was like you're taking on all this stuff. You're like, yes, 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 because I need to get the money, I need to make this work. And then it's like, oh wait, hold on, stop, this is not working for me, this is not working for me, I'm going to move this off my plate, I'm going to focus in this area, and I'm going to be taken care of. There's this element of just like, whew, and just,
Well, I burned out. I did burn out because of all of the yeses, and I realized it quickly. And I took off 10 days to just recalibrate, and to realize that I'm burning out. And because of it, and I had to reassess where am I going and who am I allowing in my life, because I worked until 12, 1 o'clock. I would have Zoom calls at 8:30, 9 o'clock, because the guys are working in the day. So they say the only time they can speak is after they have dinner and stuff. So I would stay up till that late, and it just drained me. So
Mm.
now I go to bed at 9, 10 o'clock at night. You know, previously I would go 12, 1 o'clock, wake up at 4, 5 o'clock. And and I realized, you know, sawing a documentary about sleep, how important sleep is for you, and to be at the optimal state. So I just make sure during the day I do what I need to do,
Mm.
and in the evening I rest, because you know you have to get that balance. Yes, we need to hustle and we need to put all of this effort and energy in, but we need to also have a balance, because that just you know, it's more than just hustling. It's more about enjoying what we do, you know. And one thing that you said, that I had this one client that I had to quickly realize. I do also interviews with people, and I have like a small masterclass and getting people on. And so this lady couldn't decide and things, and then so I get her to join this class, and she didn't like the speaker. She kept on sending me a message. He's full of his ego. I rather would be poor than to listen to this guy. And then I realized this is not the clients that I wanted. Rather would want to be poor than not to be open to learn from someone else. And
Yeah.
I think that is the other thing, is that openness to learning and say, okay, what is the golden nuggets I can get out of each session so that I can go apply. And I think that is the same for people that are listening to us. They might not, how can I say, connect with who I am. But what I say, there might be one or two, maybe three nuggets of what we just talked about, that if they go take it, that it will be a difference in their life in the end of the day.
100%. 100%. Oh, Cobus, thank you so much. This. So what do you? So you're doing? So you're saying you got online courses, master classes, and stuff like that. What are you doing like right now? You involved in a few things?
Yeah, so what I'm currently doing is I have an online course. You know, I started selling it before I had any content, and
Awesome.
now I build the content
Yes,
as I
right.
go on. And part of it is every week there's like a sort of master class where I get people in, and I want to ask you as well to be on the next one if you have the time. Where I get people, it's called the Hero Experts Academy, is to get experts in their field to come and share for these entrepreneurs what they need in their life and to promote. And that will then help us to them to move forward. So they get that as an extra on, because of all of the content not being on the academy yet. So I sell people into that, being part of that family. And then from there on, I would get in my one-on-one clients. So basically the process where I work on you on a personal level, either see you every 2 weeks or on a weekly basis, you know, check in and working on your plan. Then out of that, you know, it will lead, depends on your company and if you have a team, to do team strategy with your business and a marketing strategy, what everyone needs to do.
Right.
And that's the one thing, you know, is I don't do all of these stuff myself. You have to do it. And I'm here to kind of, I'm more like a mentor. You know, there's a difference between a mentor and like a consultant. A consultant comes in and does it with you and chases with you the targets. You know, like a coach, they constantly, where I'm as a mentor and say, this is what you need, this is the strategy, and you go out. And that's why I work with certain individuals that are willing to put in the work, that are willing to upskill and learn themselves and get their things on it. And that's why I created the academy, so that they can get their things on it, to learn the goals and to learn the strategies and so forth. So that is my main focus. But luckily now, with things opening up, I've already had a few quotes for events where I do strategy session with a team built in the end of the day. So it looks like that side is kicking off as well. So that is my main areas that I'm focusing on at the moment.
Yeah, that's cool. Awesome, awesome stuff. By the way, I love the idea of having to sell something before it actually exists. Many people go out and build this grandiose product that I'm going to go and sell that nobody buys. You know, you invest all this time, money, and energy into it, and nobody buys it. So it's so much better to see what do you want, and let me tailor it according to the needs that you have. I think that's really awesome.
Well, it's like someone that you also know, Krupa.
Yeah.
She procrastinates a lot. So I challenged her and said, let's sell your online course. Yeah, but people are not going to buy it and I don't have the course. I said, let's sell it and say you're going to launch in a month's time. And suddenly the sales came in and the pressure built. And so she launched it. And she only launched enough for a week. And then every week she would upload. I think she's finishing this week with the online content. But yeah, she sold it. And then, wow, okay, people really want it. So I now need to create it. And so
Exactly.
that is the one thing. It's the same if you want to write a book. You know, sell the concept of the book first and tell people I'm launching it in 6 months. And then you give yourself time to write the book.
No, 100%, 100%. That's awesome. Yeah, thanks, Cobus, man. It was really inspiring listening to you, talking to you, and I look forward to connecting and doing some more things together.
100%. Thank you for the opportunity, Marlon. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot, man. Have a great one.
Thank you.